Cool. Okay. So last time you went to turn in your hag heads, which were starting to smell because they'd been sitting out in the open air all night. And you
Same.
ran into Pelanavin, who had a job for you. And so you spent the day with her after getting paid and ended up fighting a hellhound that had been summoned on the grounds of the Laiha Temple, uh, which really, really freaked out the Mother Superior. And y'all kicked its ass.
Hell yes.
So
Hell yeah.
that's
Yeah,
where we
damn right
left
we
off. It's the middle of the night, so you're probably going to have to go back to the inn for the evening. So we'll go ahead and say you did that. And we'll start with the next morning, if everyone's agreeable to that.
So we took a long sleep.
Yeah.
Yes, you took your long rest.
Cool.
We don't have too many more days left on the initial payment, do we? For the rooms.
No, probably not. You probably have another night or two after this one.
Okay. Can I just, like, pay for, let's say, a week? However long that would be. However much.
Sure. Let's say it's... Let's say for the next week it's going to be 2 gold per person. So that's 6 gold.
Yeah, I'll just pay that.
Cool. Okay,
You
you do
gonna
that.
cover all of us?
That'll
Yeah.
cover all of you.
Very kind of you.
Thank you.
Just figured it was best to get that out of the way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We need a home base.
Does
Yeah.
Guinevere cost anything?
No, she's an animal.
Cats stay free.
She's a maniac on the floor.
Really? A panther you can't go with. She's a man-eater.
Look,
It's the eye of the panther. It's the thrill of the fight. Rising up to the challenge of our rivals.
Oh my god. This is too much.
YouTube, please
Yeah.
don't demonetize us.
We're not monetized anyway.
Yet.
they'll do it anyways. I have faith in YouTube.
Hi, YouTube. Thank you for letting us put our podcast up there for free.
Yeah, but also get fucked.
They don't listen to our shit anyway.
Well,
we
we're
have no
banned
followers.
now. That's cool.
You can catch our live stream at There's Deep now.
Anyway, so you go back to the room, and Sky pays Aya for the next week for the 3 of you.
Yes.
And you wake up the next morning, and I assume you do your washing and your eating of foods and all that jazz.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So you're gonna make your way back towards the King's Hand District, and as you walk in to return the contract, Captain Kanan walks up to you after seeing you come in, and he says to you, "If you're not busy, the king has asked to see you later this day."
The king?
Yes.
Ooh.
Is it a good meeting or is he mad?
Kanan sort of does this awkward shrug and says, "I don't know. He did not deliver the message personally."
Okay. That's odd.
I mean, that's better than nothing. That means that he's not pissed.
Yet.
That's true.
hasn't
So-
spoken to us yet.
That's true.
Oh God. So you hand over your contract, and you get your money slips once more to take to the bank, and this time it's for 150 gold each.
Nice.
So go ahead and add that 150 gold to your.
Time for math.
150. Carry the one. Got it.
That was okay math. Wasn't that bad.
Quick maths.
I like making things easy. I hate math. And so you have a couple.
I'd like to open a bank account. Yeah, we can keep going now. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I'm done.
I had to think for a moment, like, oh God, is she actually serious?
That's fine.
Oh my God.
Folks will help you with that bank account. You just give your money to Folks and he'll hold on to it. What? He
Yeah, I'll
was
just give my money to folks.
They were raised by a dwarf. They like shiny things.
So, Kanan requests that later in the day you return to the King's Hand District and they will escort you to your meeting. So you have, let's call it 4 hours before you have to be back at the King's Hand District. Do you want to just skip to that, or do you have things that you would like to do?
I mean, I feel like we should try and get another job from Yuka and Hinata.
If
Because
they
that seems to be just a running thing.
If they have one.
We'll visit them anyway.
Yeah, but yeah.
Yeah.
Plus, I have to do a thing.
Oh,
Oh,
God.
you have to do a thing. Okay. So you make your way back to the floating market, and you make your way back to the now familiar Riverstone archway of the Riverstone Mercantile. And Hinata's at the counter again, and he looks up as the door opens, and he smiles and waves at you. He doesn't look quite awake yet. He's nursing a mug of something. It's probably either coffee or tea. So he doesn't say anything, but he sort of raises his hand and he smiles. And
Sky waves.
he's not really surprised to see you anymore. He's sort of like gotten used to the idea that you're basically going to be coming in as pretty much every day.
I mean, we're delightful people, so.
So did you want to ask him if they have a job?
Yeah, probably.
All right.
Any jobs for us?
And he looks at you, and he's got that tired look in his eyes, and he says, "You know, most people who come into stores are wanting to spend money, not take it." And he takes this long gulp of whatever's in his mug.
Someone's surly this morning.
He sort of ruffles his hair through his hand through his hair, and says, "Give me a bit. I'll be better in like." There's a long pause. And he looks like he's thinking. He's like, 15 minutes. Maybe. And he takes another swig. And as he's doing so, he looks like he's thinking. And he turns to the door that leads downstairs. And he wanders over. And he goes all the way down. And he doesn't come back up. Yuka comes back up herself, and she's looking much more awake than Hinata was. And she's got her little familiar friend floating in their bubble next to her. And she says, "Looking for jobs again."
Yeah, that's kind of what we do.
She says, "Fair enough. Actually, instead of delivering something, I'm in need of someone to deliver something to me. There is a woman in the... I gotta pull up my shit.
I would think your notes would be more helpful.
Shush. Yes.
Who needs
There is
notes?
a young noblewoman in the Pearl Gardens district who has something she wishes to be enchanted, but she has not brought it to me yet. If you would be so kind as to retrieve it from her and bring it back, then I will pay you each 3 silver.
Sounds good to me.
Very
down.
well. And she writes, she takes a little slip of parchment and she writes down the address and the name of the noblewoman that you need to meet. And she brings out her own little stamp. It's not quite as big or important looking as the one from the bank, but it's sort of got the name of the Riverstone Mercantile and a small, almost like a logo that's the little, it's a little archway made of circles that sort of represent the little Riverstone archway. And she stamps that on this slip of paper and slides it over the counter to you. And she says, if you go to the far end of the Mercantile District, you will want to take the ferry with the gold sail, and that will take you to the Pearl Gardens.
Alright.
That's cool.
One more quick question, hopefully. I realize this might not be the right place. Would you happen to have any instruments of any kind?
She thinks for a moment and then she shakes her head. She says, unfortunately, that is not the sort of thing I can craft myself, and therefore we tend not to carry such things. I'm sure you could find someone who is skilled in the crafting of instruments somewhere in the market, but that is not something I tend to look for, so I would not know exactly where to point you.
Okay.
But
Thanks
I'm sure you'll
anyway.
find something if you spend enough time in the district.
Can I take a look around the shop?
Sure.
Just for the sake of it?
Sure,
Okay.
do it.
Shopping
And,
time.
Yep.
Ah, crap.
An investigation check.
Oh!
Yeah, that's a +0, so I got a 2.
There is nothing of interest to you, though it could be because you sort of turned around too quickly and got a bit dizzy.
God, that's a mood. It's been my whole day today. I've been so
Oh.
tired.
Folks rolled 12.
Rolled a 12.
Yeah.
You don't see anything, basically just sort of the same stuff, from before is what's catching your eye. You notice a pair, of gloves very similar to Jay's, set a little bit higher in the shelving. But other than that, it's the same sort of stuff that caught your eye before, the shiny armor, the little carved animals that Gawain noticed the day before.
Crowdfunding books.
You're in here fairly often, and it takes a while for a couple of these items to be crafted. For most of these items to be crafted, so they're not going to be filling in as fast as you're coming in and looking.
Dwayne is still saving for those goats.
Yeah, but we gotta like make sure they remember us, you know.
I don't think it would be easy to forget you.
A
You
very
did
bad quality.
wrestle a panther right outside their door.
A very bad quality for a ninja to have.
True.
I'm the world's greatest spy.
Look at me!
Oh, is that why you're wearing orange?
Oh, rude.
Wow.
I feel personally called out.
You should.
I feel attacked in a very different way, but alright.
Good.
I'm just confused.
You've not seen Naruto, have you?
I knew the Naruto joke. I didn't know the second one that Mark was talking about.
Oh.
That same thing, just like different opinions on the thing.
Oh. Okay.
I can't believe we're having in-group drama over Naruto.
That's what you get for bringing it up to someone who's written 57 pages of a fic, okay? Chapters.
Pages?
Not pages. No.
Say.
It's no chapters. It's well over 1,000 pages at this point, probably. I had to start another new document. Document number 4.
It's like I'm
Oh
in
my God.
2006 again.
Find me at
Welcome back.
AO3. Find me at AO3 Celtic X Panda.
Oh
Anyway.
shit, are we doing self-promotion now?
No, but you brought it up, so I did it.
That's fair.
Find me at my
That's fair.
SoundCloud. Dropping my latest mixtape. It's fire.
Oh my god.
Follow me on Twitter.
Is one of us a SoundCloud rapper?
I mean, I'm close.
No, you're better than that.
Am I, though?
I don't know, I've never heard any SoundCloud rappers, I just assume they're bad.
Wow.
Got him.
Sorry to anyone that may be listening that is a SoundCloud rapper. You're valid.
I'm not. No, you're not. You deserve what you get.
I'm sure we just alienated some part of our audience.
What audience?
Yeah, the whole 2 people. Like 1/5 of them is very offended.
You say that like it's not possible.
Anything's
We do
possible.
have 6 downloads on pretty much every single episode on Mediafire, so someone's downloading it. I just don't know who.
I feel like this bit is too meta to be kept in.
That's your job. Anyway. So,
Thanks.
No, we have to leave it in, because it can be our title, SoundCloud rappers.
Jesus Christ. Alright.
That is a good episode title.
Alright,
Okay, yeah, we leave the store.
leave the store, okay. Are you gonna go directly to the ferry, or are you gonna go...
I'm gonna look for that instrument.
Okay. You know what? Roll investigation check for me.
And Gawain
Okay.
wants to help.
Okay. Roll with
Yes.
advantage then.
and folks will just
Okay.
continue on without you.
Yeah, 17.
17. Okay. You actually come across the store on your way towards the ferry. It's not a fancy looking shop, but you can see from what they've put in the windows, it's pretty fine quality work. It's just the sort of thing that there's not a whole lot of constant demand for, and so they don't quite have as much, it's not something that they get a whole lot of money for upkeep at the shop. But if you want to go in, there's a older gentleman behind the counter. He's sort of in his early 60s. He's got the dark hair that's sort of graying at the temples and a short but well-maintained beard. And he's currently whittling at a piece of wood, possibly to make another instrument. You're not quite sure.
Does he acknowledge me at all
Oh,
when I come in? Or
he looks up and he gives you a nod, and he says, "Welcome. Feel free to look around. Ask if you're interested in anything, and I can certainly help you with the purchasing."
I did have one question.
And he nods at you.
God. What would... Do you have anything good for a beginner? I'm kind of new to this stuff. It seems interesting, and this is kind of an impulse decision, so...
He sets the block down and sort of stands from behind the counter. He looks around the room, sort of pondering each of the instruments. And he wanders over to a small table of fairly diminutive stringed instruments. And he picks up one that looks a little bit like a lute, but smaller. And he says, generally, these are made for the smaller folk, your gnomes, your halflings. But it's pretty.
So, like, anyone other than me?
He kind of smiles, but he says, but they're certainly easy to learn. And they're a happy sounding little instrument. And you look like you could use that. Then he hands it over. And as you're plucking the strings, it sounds very much like a modern ukulele.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm self-taught on the lute. I can help her out, no problem.
How much?
He thinks for a moment. And he sort of looks at the other instruments as if trying to remember what the others were paid, what the cost of the others were, and sort of to figure out the pay scale. He says, 5 gold.
Hell yeah, take it.
Okay. You hand over your 5 gold.
Yep.
And he sort of he goes behind the counter, drops the money into his wherever he's keeping his coin. And he pulls out a small booklet full of, like, nursery rhyme songs and things written out into the music notes. And he slides it across the table to you and he says, that should get you started.
Thank you very much.
He nods again. He picks up his wood and he starts whittling again. If you ever need strings replaced, you can come on by. We'll fix you up.
I definitely will. At some point.
He gives this little snort of laughter but doesn't really say anything.
Okay, we can go now.
Okay. Welcome to Bard, Kim.
The most socially awkward bard there ever was.
Anyway, here's Wonderwall. Blick, 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 blick.
I like to...
Today is gonna be the day that they're gonna throw it back to you.
I like to imagine that during any of our time skip moments, Gawain is trying to teach her
That
string
is
instrument.
adorable, and it's canon.
Yes, I love it. I
But
appreciate
let it be known, I don't know if he can read music very well. So
And he
It's
probably
okay, Sky
has no
appreciates it
idea
a lot.
what how
he
to actually.
learns. Yeah, he learns by ear. So
And I'm sure the different chords have totally different fingerings from lute to ukulele.
Oh yeah, 100%.
she's gonna sound so weird at first. It's gonna be great. They need to put on a concert at the end one day.
I can just imagine Aya's face.
Is it better or worse than when we walked in with the hag heads?
Probably better. I'm not sure by how
Okay.
much, though.
But what about the cat, though?
Mm.
I mean, the cat plays the triangle, obviously.
Yeah, obviously.
Tie a little stick to her tail and she just starts whacking it just randomly. That's how she plays the triangle.
Yeah. Gawain just holds it
Truly,
on
we
his...
are the ultimate band.
Gawain just holds the triangle itself on his tail, and then she whacks it.
And Folks is the manager.
Yes.
Folks is clearly the vocalist.
This is some weird folksy Americana bullshit.
Hell yeah.
Folksy, huh?
Hey, that wasn't even on purpose. That's the title. I've decided. I don't care what else we
That's our
come up.
band. That's our band.
Amazing.
I don't care what else we come up with this session. That's it.
Yeah, that's fair.
I like
Anyway, so you make your way across the way towards the ferry to the Pearl Gardens, which is sort of the noble housing district. There's a couple different residential districts, but that one is specifically for the nobles. And you can tell by the people you see on the dock. Because for one, the dock itself looks better maintained, like it's got a nice stain on it that's weather resistant, what have you. And the benches look a little nicer. They've got these wrought iron sort of armrests that have these integral swirling leafy designs. And the people standing there are all dressed in fine silks and satins and velvets and all that jazz. And they sort of eye you as you approach, but they don't say anything. Partially because you have a panther with you, and possibly also because having adventuring parties through the city, doing jobs for nobles is probably not an uncommon thing.
This guy strums menacingly at them.
Amazing.
Oh my god! I'm just imagining that gif.
Yeah, exactly.
Only with a tinier instrument, and because
And
of
it's
that,
Sky.
it's Sky.
So, like, the instrument seems even smaller.
And unfortunately, it doesn't really quite have the same effect because it is an ukulele, and it's really hard to make that sound menacing. So instead, they just sort of give you a look like it's the sort of look you'd give someone who attempted to intimidate you by throwing an egg on the ground. Like, a sort of, their eyes and nose are kind of scrunched together, and it's just a look of utter confusion and a little bit of...
But now I've thrown them off their rhythm. Street smarts.
Oh my god. So you continue to strum menacingly at them until the boat arrives, and then they all just sort of hurry on, throwing looks over their shoulder at you.
I think we'll need to expedite those lessons, Sky.
Oh, thought I was doing well.
I thought you were doing well. They...
I'd like to see an encore.
Everyone's a critic.
That's the first lesson. You're making such good progress.
So the boat makes its way towards the Pearl Gardens. And it's a series of lush, a series of islands with very lush foliage, a lot of flowering trees, and fruit-bearing bushes and such. And it's a series of 5 islands, and like most of the other districts, are connected via a series of bridges. And these bridges are gorgeous. Most of them are stone. They have statues on the ends of them and such. And as you approach the dock, you see there is. It's not a city guard, but it is a guard, possibly employed specifically by the noble folk to sort of manage the incoming folks. And you're starting to think this might have been why Yuka put her stamp on that slip of paper that she gave you.
Mm-hmm.
And they sort of it's not really an ID check, but they sort of look to make sure that they recognize the people who are coming off. And because of that, as you step off the boat, the guard sort of holds out his hand and is like, "Hang on a moment. What's your business here?"
We're here on a job?
And he sort of eyes you.
And Sky just like shoves the paper in his face.
I was gonna say, as he opens his mouth to ask you what kind of job, you shove the paper in his face, and he sort of jerks his head back real sharply. And he eyes the paper and sees the stamp in the corner. And he nods his head and sort of steps out of the way. He's like, "All right, no funny business." And he sort of holds out his arm to sort of beckon you onwards. He says, "When you get to the edge of this island, it's going to be the leftmost bridge."
Okay.
Okie dokie.
Right. And so you make your way through, and the houses on this first island are not terribly large. They're certainly bigger than what you would assume most houses would be in the city. You haven't really looked at the residential districts around, and again, you haven't really made your way over there, but they're not absurdly large. They seem just sort of like slightly bigger than normal. Most of them do have low stone walls sort of surrounding their property. All of them have...
Well, everyone, we've entered suburbia.
I would... pretty overdone landscaping, basically. Like, they have all this land on it, but they're not using it for anything. So they just put tons of random flowers that vaguely look like they look pretty together, in hopes of, making use of this land that they don't have any use for. Because lots of these people are nobles, or a couple of them might be just like really high up there merchants. Youth.
They're all bastards, and they will be destroyed when the revolution comes.
These are very much the sort of people that you, Sky, would have seen in the Rainbird tea house. I keep wanting to say tree house. It's tea house.
It's the magic tree house.
And so, as you're making your way through,
This guy just walks faster.
the people don't really seem to pay you much mind. You sort of get second glances every so often. But none of them seem to be looking at you with scorn or anything. Or they don't necessarily look annoyed that you're there. Some of the younger ones might point you out and be like, "Mommy, look, adventurers!" and whatnot. But it's just, it's sort of a thing. And so you make your way.
This guy is walking so fast.
And so you make your way to the edge of the island, and there's a series of bridges. There's a left bridge, a center bridge that's longer than the other two, And then a little while, just sort of almost around the corner, I guess, uh, around sort of the edge of this island, there's another one. And so you go through the left bridge, and there are signposts. There are streets and such to these islands, and so you follow the road of the street sign that has the name that matches the one on your piece of paper. And you notice that next to the gates of their walls, there are these metallic plates that sort of have the number, the street, and then underneath it has the name of the noble family and the crest of the family that lives there. And you come across a slightly bigger house. It's a little bit bigger than the ones on the previous island. It's made of, it's got a layer of dark brick around the bottom, and then from there up it is a pale blue plaster. There's a row of very large windows up on the second floor. But there's no front windows on the first floor. But the front door is made of glass, it seems. And the gate is open, and you see a young halfling maid tending to a couple of the flowers. And the name on the paper, by the way, I should probably say this for you, is actually I should probably come up with a name, shouldn't I? God damn.
My help.
We will fight the nameless ones.
Richie McRicherson. That is this noble's name.
Bet this lady's name is Karen.
I don't like any of these that it's giving me. No, because I have too many of those.
Karen.
There we go. You're looking for Lady Muriel. It's M-R... There we go.
Muriel?
Muriel.
Okay.
And, do you, approach the halfling maid?
Yeah. That seems like a safe bet.
Okay.
Maybe.
So, it's sort of not a cobblestone pathway, but it's sort of a pebbled walkway. There we go, that's the word I'm looking for. And so, as you step onto the pathway to the house, your footprints make a bit of a crunching sound, and that alerts the young maid to your presence. And she looks up, and she's got these big, striking green eyes and curly blonde hair. And she does a little bob of a curtsy and says, "Oh, yes, how can I help you? Are you looking for Milady?"
I would assume so. We're looking for Muriel?
And she bobs another curtsy, and she says, "Oh, yes, I will fetch her at once if you would like to come into the parlor for just a moment."
Sure.
And she,
Okay, let's go.
Oh, beg pardon. She leads you up to the front door and opens it for you. And you step into this main parlor with these high ceilings, with the light of the window from the top floor shining down into this space. It's beautiful polished hardwood. There's these two grand staircases that sort of are off to the side and curve inward towards I guess it's the balcony to the second floor. And there's a small table right smack dab in the middle of these two. that has a small bust of what looks to be like an old matriarchish woman, elven in nature, and the halfling maid dips her curtsy again, and she scurries off into the house. And it takes her a few minutes to get back. And as she comes through, she brings with her a younger elven woman, not quite childish, but certainly childlike in feature. So not quite an adult, but almost there. And she has this long dark hair, and she has these gray eyes, and she's dressed in this fine velvet tunic that sort of reaches her knees, and underneath she's wearing these cream-colored leggings. And she approaches you, and she has what you assume to be what Yuka sent you there for. She has a small rucksack in her hands. And she looks mildly embarrassed. And she says, "I'm so sorry. Please do extend my apologies to Miss Yuka. I had totally forgotten to bring this with me last time I was over there making my request." And she hands it to you. And I assume you're taking it, Sky, since you've become face of the team.
Apparently.
Somehow.
Somehow.
It's not hard in this group.
No.
And so she
I
hands
mean,
it.
at least Sky and I look nothing alike.
No.
Yeah, I think you look fine. You're a perfectly good face.
And you're so wrong.
Shh. And so, she hands the rucksack parcel thing over to you. And, she sort of, weaves her fingers together and lays them against, her, belly just underneath her breast. And she says, "I do thank you for coming all this way. I feel terribly embarrassed. Would you like some tea before you go? It is quite warm outside."
Sky just short circuits.
And she sort of just stands there waiting. And she's like, "Oh, if you're busy, it's fine. I don't get a lot of company these days, but it's all right."
No, we'll stay.
And she sort of claps her hands and she says, "Oh, delightful. Do come in. And she, the little maid runs ahead, and Lady Muriel leads you to a sunroom in the back of her manor that is full of potted flowers of all sorts of different colors. There's roses and tulips and pansies and all sorts of glorious flowers that you're starting to think she might take care of herself, because as she comes in, she notices one is wilting a little, and she picks up a small watering can and gives it a bit of a drink. And there's a round table in the middle of the room that's already got one sort of a teacup on it, and you see the maid rushing back in with a small tray with more cups on it. And Muriel sits, and she waves you over to sit as well, and the maid starts pouring tea into the cups. But you notice that it's not steaming the tea. And there's actually a couple of small round ice cubes floating in each of the cups. It is iced tea. Welcome to Texas, y'all.
Yeah, we're in southern suburbia.
Southern
Man.
suburbia.
It ain't Texas if that tea ain't sweet.
If you take a sip, you do notice it is sweet,
Yes.
Yes.
but not overtly so. It's sort of a mild sweetness, as opposed to other places where your tea might be so sweet it might as well be syrup. But it's pleasant.
I like it that way. Don't hate.
I'm not, but it's like my aunt will literally pour as much sugar in her tea as
No,
she
I
does
feel you.
tea.
I know.
I mean, that sounds like the only way to make tea worthwhile.
It's so good.
Hot take.
But
And as you're sipping it, you do taste a slight peachy flavor in it.
I like to imagine that these are normal human-sized teacups.
Yes, they're normal
And
human-sized teacups.
Gawain has it very delicately grasped with his fingers, trying to work around his claws and get it to his snout. He's very appreciative, but it's very awkward.
Yeah, Sky is doing their best to just hide behind their cup. They didn't want this.
Also, that tail does not really work with these chairs, let me tell you.
It's very awkward, but Muriel does not seem to notice, or she is too pleased. She's too pleased with the fact that she has company to notice. You get the feeling that she's far older than she appears, and she chatters on about the upcoming festival of Talios, which is coming up at the end of next week, and she chatters on about how her plants are growing and how she is excited to make the arrangements for the festivities in the Pearl Gardens, and she's honestly a delight. She's sounds like the stereotypical Southern belle grandma, but in like the best way.
Yeah, this is the most uncomfortable Sky has been.
And,
Question.
Yes.
Is Guinevere in the house?
Yes, Guinevere is in the house.
Alright.
And Muriel every so often reaches out to pet her.
He
And she
takes the
seems
saucer-
delighted by your giant cat.
He takes the saucer, pours some of the tea in it, puts it on the floor.
Are you sure she wouldn't like some milk, dear?
I mean, that'd be great if you have some.
And she sends the maid off again. The maid comes back with a frosted white pitcher, and she has what looks like a soup bowl in her hand, and she sets the bowl down and pours not a whole lot of milk, but enough so that the bottom of the bowl is vanished underneath the milk, and she sort of sets that down for Gwen.
Sky very quietly says thank you for your help to the maid.
And the maid dips another curtsy, and Muriel pats her on the cheek before sending her off. And she turns to you and she says, "Now, how long have you been in England, dears?"
Just a couple of days. Not very long.
Did you come for the festival?
Not exactly.
And she looks at you over your teacup and she says, "Now, I've met enough adventurers in my day to know that means something interesting happened."
You'd be right, ma'am. We were kidnapped and rescued in the docks.
And she,
I mean, really, we rescued ourselves.
I was about to
True.
say, who rescued us?
True.
Kyrie didn't do jack shit in that fight.
I didn't want to make it sound like your security here in this town wasn't that great. But yeah, basically we did rescue ourselves.
And she does. If she had pearls on her neck, she would be
Oh,
clutching
God.
her pearls. And she's like, "Oh, you poor dears. Yes, I've heard terrible things about what's been happening down at the docks recently.
It's
It
fine.
didn't
we took
used
care
to
of
be
them.
so bad. But
They
you know,
won't be
there's
a
war
problem.
brewing on the other continent, so maybe that might have something to do with it."
I'm sorry, what was that?
Oh, well, there's war always brewing on the other continents, dear.
Okay.
Especially on Duyapea. And she takes a sip.
This guy just hides again.
What did she say? I didn't understand. exactly.
Duyapea. If you want to roll a history check, you might, to see if you
Yeah,
recognize
fuck it,
that
let's
term.
do it.
Am I even good at history?
I don't
I'm
know.
not. I am not
No,
good at
but it
history.
can't hurt.
Oh boy, I'm exceptionally bad at history.
One!
Woohoo!
It might be because of how awkward you are, but the name brings up nothing. Like you are so anxious in this moment that you cannot get your brain to work right.
Sky doesn't even know where she is right now.
I wouldn't be
Fucking mood.
surprised.
I barely know a little bit more about where we are right now.
How?
You've
Have a
heard the-
-1.
You might have heard the name before, but at this moment you cannot remember.
To be fair, it's pretty reasonable he wouldn't keep up with other continents, to be fair.
Yeah, I
Fair.
will say that Sky not knowing kind of surprises me, considering their whole thing.
It's
Rolled a
early.
7.
Well,
Okay.
what was supposed to be their whole thing.
It's early in the morning,
It's
okay?
evolved. It's true.
It's the morning. You're in a very awkward situation. You've got a not granny looking, but granny acting elf who's invited you in for tea into her very fancy house. It's okay. It's okay.
Did Folks roll?
Yeah, I rolled a 7.
So, you know a little about Duriapea. You know it is a larger continent across the sea. There's something in the back of your head about how the way it's set up is very different from the way the political system works in Isole, but you honestly have no idea what it is.
Oh well.
I want to remind you I have a -1 modifier to that. So that's why I managed to roll better than both of you should be.
What makes you have a -1 in history?
-1 to intelligence? Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm not an intelligent boy, I'm a wise boy.
Yeah, that's why I said this should be Sky's thing.
I'm a
But nope.
Nope.
dumb person.
And so, she keeps you there for about an hour, just sort of talking about nothing in particular. But the teapot soon runs dry. And at that point, there's no social obligation to keep you there if you wish to escape.
Let's do that.
Ma'am, I'm sorry. We really do need to get this going. It's been fun.
And she looks a little bare-skinned. She's like, "Oh, you're right. I'm so sorry."
No, there's nothing to apologize for. It's fine, really.
And she reaches over and pats you on the arm a little bit, and she says, "Feel free to come by any time. I do enjoy company." And she,
Can I roll a deception check to say, yeah, we'll do that?
sure, if you want to.
Do
I have to roll an
Okay.
insight check to make sure she knows, right?
I believe so, yes.
Well, I
That's
got
an
a
11.
I got a 7, so we'll say she believes you.
Oh, thank God. You gotta be nice to people, okay?
Even as you're
Bullshit.
saying, yeah. Even as you're giving a poor old lady false hope.
She was nice.
Okay, Sky wants to be nice to people.
And so the maid leads you back out once again, and she says, "Thank you for staying with Milady. I know you didn't really want to."
It's fine. Is she, like, okay?
The maid sort of looks back over her shoulder to make sure that you're far enough away before she says anything. She says, "Her family is far away. They live in Tuathan most times now. She doesn't get to see them very often. So it's very nice that you stayed and let her family you for a little while."
It's no problem.
Happy to help.
And she opens the door for you and lets you step back out into the garden. And she says, "Thank you for your time, and we do appreciate you taking this to the Riverstone Mercantile." And she gently closes the door behind you.
I assume we just, like, head back there then?
Yeah, you'll just head back.
Question.
Yes.
Can we snoop in the bag to see what's in it?
Sure, you can snoop in the bag.
Yeah. What am I rolling?
Investigation check.
Okay.
Hell yeah, let's all roll. What could go wrong?
You all see something entirely different.
Shit.
Alright. Kim has
All right.
X-ray vision, doesn't even need to open it, and she just says what's in it.
So that's a 21.
A Sky sort of like holds the bag in one hand and sort of lifts it up and down and tests its weight and squeezes it a little and feels it. And,
They magically get a lab coat and
and
protective goggles.
This guy's in forensics now, I see.
Yes.
And you discern that it is some sort of necklace. And when you open it up, you do see that it is a thin, sort of silvery chain with a small pendant on it that is a foresty green stone that's sort of carved in the shape of a 5-pointed star.
Is that symbol of any significance?
No, not particularly.
See,
but
I,
you-
as a person, want to steal this.
No.
But you do
Bad.
notice that as you're leaving, there is a series of 5-pointed stars along the top of their family crest. So it might be a
Family heirloom.
allusion to that.
No, we do not steal from sad grandmas. There's a special place in the underworld for people that steal from sad grandmas.
Yeah, it's called the throne.
Look, we'll steal from old people later eventually, but we're gonna but we're talking
Steal
about
from-
old people that actually have things and keep them at the expense of others.
To be fair, I said that out of character, not in character.
That was me out of character.
That was also me out of character.
Good.
Steal from the mean old people,
But
not
yeah,
the
no,
nice old
no,
people. Come
Gawain,
on.
Gawain does not
Yeah,
want
but it's
to
green.
steal from people that were kind to him. That was someone that was very nice to him.
Oh yeah, no, neither does Sky. I'm just a bad person. Like, objectively speaking.
I'll show you a bad person.
You're not that bad.
You are all
Debatably.
dumplings to me.
Anyway, as you make your way back, and you deposit the pouch with Yuka, who sort of eyes you, and you get the feeling that she knows you snooped, but she doesn't say anything about it because the thing is still there.
Got curious, sue me.
How would you know that it was snooped?
I don't know, she's got like magic shit. That's what I would assume.
You can it's probably also because she kind of knows y'all and knows you're the type to get up to shit.
That's fair.
Yeah, that's fair.
That's valid.
So she pays you the gold, not the gold, the silver, 3 silver. think it was
Cash prizes.
Nice.
It was 3 silver. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Can't even remember from when we started from over
I
now.
have to re-add my silver. I don't have any.
Woo! You got silver now. Yay.
Cash
At
money.
least it wasn't bronze.
If we got paid in bronze, I would be mad.
Yeah,
Not
bronze
legal,
isn't even a coin.
Is that basically
type.
just being paid in pennies?
No.
Yes.
It'd be being paid in bullshit.
Bronze is not a coin type. Copper is. Copper is
Yeah.
pennies.
See, like, I don't have enough information to, like, know what I'm saying.
I don't know. I think
I
copper's
never know what I'm saying. I
more
just
like
bullshit my way through life.
So bronze is Monopoly money.
bronze
Pretty
is
much.
monopoly money. Yes.
Okay.
I think coppers are more like quarters, and then silvers would be dollar bills, maybe. Meh.
Probably. I don't know.
I don't know.
Whatever.
Platinums
Got
are
some money.
Platinums are a Benjamin.
I think we should.
Platinums are a Benjamin,
Ooh.
We're all about the Benjamins.
which means, I guess golds would be $20, maybe. Anyway, doesn't matter.
Are we good in the store?
I think so.
Okay.
I mean, you didn't see anything that you wanted because you didn't see
Nah.
anything.
I
but
don't want to
that's
be.
beside
I
the
don't want to
point.
be tempted by anything else. I'm saving my money.
Saving your muns.
You're working really hard for the goat.
All your muns.
I got to fund this shit myself, y'all.
Then is it crowdfunding?
I was supposed to say.
Alright, everyone, if you'd like to donate to Gawain's statue fund, go
His
to
goat fund.
patreon.com/
Gawain's goats.
This is a reference. Maybe not ever get. We'll have to break into that Saint Olaf emergency statue fund.
Okay.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Oh, you're welcome, everyone.
These are my friends, everybody.
You love us.
Maybe. Sometimes.
Don't act like you wouldn't
I
fight
see
for
how
me.
it is.
You would fight for me.
Say that again? I didn't hear you, Jay.
Oh, I said you would fight for me. Don't even front.
I would certainly throw dice at someone for you.
That's the kind of fighting that matters.
Either that or I'd pull out a spritz bottle.
I will fight you and I will also
Got a
fight for
funny
you.
feeling you don't love me anymore.
Oh my god. Don't we
Oh
have,
god. This is a weird episode.
did we
So
not
was
have,
last episode. Actually, every episode is a weird episode. So
Yeah.
there's
This one's
that.
gone off the rails entirely.
Yeah, don't we have like an important meeting with royalty?
Yes.
Shit, yeah!
We've been sitting around with sad grandma for like the past
I was-
hour.
No,
I was-
an hour.
I was gonna
You're
bring it up
fine.
then, but I was worried I was wrong, so I didn't say anything.
You had time.
Don't
You're
worry.
alright.
Don't worry about being
You'll
wrong.
only be like 10 minutes late at most.
Okay, yeah, let's go be 10 minutes late for our meeting with the king.
So you make your way, after you're done with Yuka, you make your way back towards the ferry that will take you over to the King's Hand District. And as you walk into the building, there are 2 guards who are dressed in finer armor than even Captain Kanan. It's got more of that blue inlaid stone. They wear a pair of they each wear a white cape, and they're standing there speaking with Kanan, and he sees you enter and he beckons you over. And he turns back to the two either higher ranked guards or royal guards. You can't quite tell. It could be either. Could be both. And he says, "These are the fine folks that you are looking for." And they turn to you, and one is a female human with very short auburn hair, and she's got these hazily blue eyes, and she's got a smattering of freckles on her face. And the other one is a tiefling man with a deep burgundy skin and dark hair that hangs around his shoulders, and his horns sort of go back and twirl, sort of like that one African antelope. I don't know the name of it. And they both nod at you. And the woman introduces herself, and she says, "I am Captain..." Shit, I should come up with names before I do this.
I am Captain Shit.
Sky strums aggressively. No.
No, honey, please, God, no.
Not
That thing away before I take it.
a thing.
Shoot. Sure. My name is Captain J, and that is that.
Yeah, that won't get confusing.
Oh.
Shush, she's only going to be here for like half an episode. It's fine.
Ow.
You say that.
This is like someone looking around a room. Their name is, this.
Peter Johnson. I can't read.
Name is
That
J.
fucking alien.
J. Seong. There we go. We'll do that, so it won't be so bad. J. Seong.
Amazing.
Alright.
And I am here to escort you to the Seaborn. I think it's Seaborn Palace. I could be wrong. I am usually wrong. Seabound Palace. There we go. I was close. Oh, I thought you were saying something. You were just yawning. Okay.
Sorry.
No, it's fine. They look at you expectantly.
Oh, well, lead the way.
This guy's playing Wonderwall.
You learned it that fast, huh?
I'm a good teacher.
It's a pretty easy song, to be fair.
Don't knock my skills.
I'll be honest, I've never heard Wonderwall before.
What the fuck?
I immediately regret saying that.
Hold on, stop the episode! Stop the episode!
Oh.
You have...
Kim, when you make Folx's theme song, it has to sound like Wonderwall.
Alright.
I'm going
Well,
to do my homework tonight. You know this, right?
Amazing.
Oh my god.
we're all nerds.
Yeah,
Yes.
a little
A
bit.
D&D
we are playing
podcast, I'm
Dungeons and
fucking
Dragons.
shocked.
I know, right?
They come in all
I'm
shapes
shocked
and
too.
sizes, kids.
Oh my goodness. Anyway. So
So yeah, we walk through to wherever we're going. Sky's
Yeah.
playing Wonderwall.
Okay. So they lead you to yet another boat. This one is not a ferry like the other ones. It is an actual sailing boat. It's a small one, but it is a sailing boat. And it has another two guards waiting there for you. One is a dwarven man with a full dark beard, no hair on his head. And the other one is a human man with his hair sort of tied back in a top knot. And He is the young human man. As you enter the boat, steps towards the steering wheel. I think it has a different name when it's on a boat, but I don't know what it is. Anyway, he steers the boat. He steers the boat, and he steers the boat towards the far end of the lagoon. You can turn behind you and see the opening towards the open ocean, and he's leading you back towards the mainland. And as you approach, you see this very large building. It is seemingly impossibly long and about 5 stories tall. And it is surrounded by this very tall, imposing wall that has these clay tiles that run along the top of it that are a deep blue. There is a large wrought iron gate that goes all the way up to the sort of landing that they have for their boats, which includes a very large, imposing, what looks like military naval vessel. And as you approach, there are even more guards milling about. And there are a couple of dockhands there to sort of catch the rope that the tiefling throws them and tie off your boat. And they lead you not through the main gate, but through a smaller guard post that's sort of built into the wall right next to it. And as they lead you through, you realize that the walls are extraordinarily thick. Like, it takes you a good minute or two to get through the actual width of the wall. And as you come out, you are led through a meticulously well-maintained garden. There are hedges that are clipped into these different swirling, almost wave-like patterns. Most of the flowers there are various shades of blue and blue-green. There is a small patch of sand that has been raked in very meticulously well-maintained rows. It's something like a Zen garden. And they lead you to the palace, which the front door is not on the first level. They have to take you up a set of stairs to what would essentially be the second level in order to enter. And they lead you through the front door, which are these large white doors that have a stained glass windows that sort of depict this roaring ocean. If you think of the painting Big Wave, that old Japanese painting, it basically looks like a stained glass version of that.
Okay.
And they open the door, and there are guards rushing about. There are maids and butlers and various other hired hands. You can see a couple of scholarly-looking folks up on the floor above you, because the front entrance is clear straight through the top. There's a skylight almost at the top, and you can see a couple of the
skylight.
You can see a couple of the windows are open, and in this pre-air conditioned world, that is probably how they get their air conditioning. They will open the windows and sort of get a breeze through the house at various different points with these different skylights. And like with the with Muriel's house before, it is there's a set of spiral staircases that sort of stop at each of the floors on the way up on either side. And right in front of you is a long hallway with it looks like normally the doors would be closed, but the doors have been opened. And Jae-seong sends you, escorts you through the hallway. It's, again, dark, polished wooden floors that you can almost see yourself in certain spots. You have a feeling it depends on who's been scrubbing the floors. And along the walls are various different gorgeous paintings. Some are of the Ingan landscape, others are apparently battle scenes. And there's a couple of family portraits of previous generations of the royal family. And you pass by, actually make a perception check for me, all of you, real quick.
Supposedly, I am good at that. We will see.
We will see what the dice gives you. Oh, hey, there we go.
Well, I still want to see anyway.
Oh yeah, no, everyone
Look.
does this.
Look with your special eyes.
17.
17?
My brand.
Nice.
24.
Okay.
And
I rolled a
nat
nat
20.
I got a nat 20.
Nice. Okay. Gawain sees everything. But,
I see all.
Everything the light touches.
Is my kingdom.
no.
We have come to overthrow you.
You pass
got-
by this one painting that gives each of you pause in its own way. It is of a human man in his mid-30s with this dark hair that's been sort of slicked back and tied into a fairly long ponytail that hangs over his shoulder. And he has these bright blue eyes that seem, at times, depending on the angle and the lighting, at times cold and at other times warm in a sort of fatherly manner. And he's sitting in a chair with gold leaf on it, and he's wearing a dark black military uniform with a sort of white and blue cape thrown over the back of the chair. And with him is a young girl, maybe 7 years old. And she's got brown hair that's sort of curled and sits around her shoulder. Part of it is tied back with this big ribbon. And she's in a pretty blue dress. And her eyes look brown, but Jay, as you're passing, you notice that they're actually golden in color, and she looks familiar to you.
Yeah. Okay.
And Sejong continues leading you down the hallway, and you come to a set of doors that are far larger than even the front doors. And they're this very dark wood color. And the handles are this polished dark bronze color. And there are more guards, 2 guards specifically guarding the store. And as Sejong approaches with you, they each turn and grab one of the handles and push the door open for you. And you are led into the throne room. It too has a glass ceiling that extends all the way up to what appears to be the top floor of the building. There are marble pillars that hold up the ceiling around the sides. There is a long, deep blue carpet that runs from the door to the dais, where a man who looks like an older version of the gentleman in the painting you noticed earlier. His hair is still that sort of long, tied into the ponytail over his shoulder style, but it is graying at the temples. And you can see that his face is got a couple of wrinkles, some wrinkles on it. He's got that crease in his brow, and he's got the laugh lines around his face. And his eyes are still that striking blue, but they're warm as you approach.
Sky waves.
Yeah, let's wave at the king.
I think Wayne will actually bow. He's not going to push anything.
And as you draw closer, there is a figure with him that sort of comes up from around the back of the dies, because behind the dies there's this these silvery white curtains that sort of hide something. You're not sure what. But from the curtains comes a figure of a young woman. She's got her hair tied back in one of those fancy wavy, curly, half up, half down sort of situations. Is held back with a series of mother of pearl clips in her hair.
Fancy.
And she's wearing... I'm sorry?
Fancy.
She's wearing a seafoam green dress that sort of hangs off the shoulder and goes all the way down to the floor. It's fairly simple, but you can tell even from this distance it's very well made. And it has sort of floral embroidery in white thread around the cuff of her sleeve and the bottom of the dress. And she looks towards you, and she has golden eyes. It is Kaire.
Sky waves.
You have been brought into the throne room, and along with the king, on the other side of the room, on the dais, is Kaire, looking way fancier than she was the last time you saw her. And she sees you, and she recognizes you instantly, and she starts to look a little pale. As in a, oh shit, sort of feeling.
Wow, this
Sky
is a
puts
little
their
bit
ukulele
awkward.
away.
And she immediately sort of stands behind her father's throne, and her face is a little red, and it's trying to hide from you.
Oh my god.
And
Yes, we're so terrifying.
I am.
it's
I don't
not
know
so
about
much.
you.
It's not
Okay,
so
yeah,
much
that's
that
true.
you're scary. It's the fact that you have caught her as is. is the issue.
No, yeah, I know. I just, gotta give her shit.
And
She's royalty. She can take it.
apparently she is royalty. The one of the guards at the door says in a loud booming voice, "His Royal Majesty, King Neris of Engan." And the king holds up a hand to sort of stay the crier. And he says, "I have heard great things about you from our Captain Kanan down in the King's Hand district. He tells me you have slayed a coven of hags and saved our people. And what's more, I have learned today that you have slain a hellhound that were terrorizing the good women of the Temple of Liha. It seems to me you are very capable." And as such, my daughter, and he sort of reaches behind his chair and tugs Kairi out from behind it, has a request for our new heroes. And Kairi is just sort of is not looking at you. She's sort of trying to tug her arm away from her dad. But he's not having
I really thought this princess would be in another castle.
Nice.
And she's just like, thanks, Dad. I can handle it from here. And she jerks her arm away. And he just sort of lets it go finally with this look of, all right, whatever. Like, clearly this is something that happens a lot. He teases her for. And she steps down from the throne. And she steps towards you. And she says in a quieter voice, she says, when I heard there were heroes running around, I hadn't expected it to be y'all for some reason.
Why not? You saw us kick ass before.
What can I say? We're more than meets the eye.
And she says, I didn't think you'd be sticking around.
Where the hell do you think we would go?
Not really much else better to do.
Did we really seem like we had the money to go anywhere else?
She says, it's cheaper to sleep outside than it is in an inn. And she waves you off. And she says, never mind. She sort of tugs at her dress. And she says, I don't usually like people seeing me like this. And she dusts off stuff that isn't there. And she says, we are in need of some capable folk who are not directly connected with the throne or the city guard for a special task. It would pay handsomely, and I don't think it would be quite as difficult as killing hags. Although I could be wrong.
I'm listening.
There is a man who has been unkind to our fair city, but unfortunately, without proof of such unkindness, we cannot do anything about it. As such, I would like you three to find said proof and bring it to us, so that we might correct the misbehavior.
So we're moonlighting as investigators?
If you'd like to put it that way, certainly.
Sounds like an escort mission to me.
Not so much.
Wouldn't it be easier just to kill him if he's a problem?
What? We can't... What?
If
You can't just kill people.
What the hell do you think we've been doing this entire time?
To be fair, those weren't people.
Killed people?
We killed a lot
and
of
they
humans
attacked
on
us.
that ship.
Okay, but I mean, it's arguable whether or not they counted as people. They were pirates.
I mean, is this person a people?
I don't know what you're complaining about. I kill people all the time. I've been trained to do
Okay,
that.
I haven't. This is new to me.
That's... Wait, don't you practice death magic?
Shh. Maybe don't say that in front of anyone. That's like a bad thing. Trying to keep that on the DL.
I don't think it's a little late for that now.
Yeah, thanks.
I didn't do anything. Blame him.
His name, Kyrie continues.
I heard nothing.
She's just, to be fair, she is a princess who sneaks out of the palace constantly to go fight pirates.
Yeah,
I'm
Sky
pretty
shoots
sure-
her a grateful look.
I'm pretty sure any random secrets you have are probably safe with her. Or safe in her indifference, one of the two. His name is Hackgrad Hillbender. He is one of the newer noblemen in our city. And he is getting very rich very quickly in a way that his ledgers would not suggest to be possible. We are assuming that he is doing some sort of trafficking. Whether it is of people or goods, we do not know yet. That is what I would like you to find out. And in order to do so, you will accompany me and my boys, and you see her wave off to the side of the room where there are two men standing there. One is a red dragonborn with piercing golden eyes that are a bit of a brighter color than Kaire's are. He's a very tall man, and he is dressed much in the same way as the royal guards are, but his cloak is red and embroidered with these golden draconic symbols. And the other one is a elven man, pale of skin, and he has light brown hair that's long and sort of combed over to one side and rests across his shoulder. And Kyrie, after gesturing to them and sort of flashing them a smile, turns back to you. To the celebration at the Festival of Talios in the Pearl Gardens. That way, you have easy access to Hillbender's manor while he is distracted by the revelry.
This day got a lot more stressful.
Oh, don't worry. It's not today. You have...
Oh good, the stress is being dragged out.
You have 3 days to prepare yourself and your plan before you will accompany me to the festival, where I will get you past the guards and onto the proper island. The rest is up to you.
And then the moon will crash onto the city. Oh.
She gives you this look.
I mean, that was out of character. Come on.
Okay. It's hard to tell sometimes. So she doesn't give you a look. So, if you are to succeed and get us proof, we are willing to pay each of you 1,000 gold each. Should you complete the endeavor and not gather proof, we will pay you each 500 gold for your trouble. Is that reasonable?
More money towards the goats.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, we're crowdfunding some goats. You know how it is.
She, is that in character?
It's very tempting.
Sometimes a lizard man needs his goats. Can you
Yeah, fuck it.
She gives you a look of mild confusion and says, "You would think one needs a homestead before you get goats."
It's cool,
No,
they're
no,
magic goats.
Yeah.
Ah.
Yeah, a lot of the questions simply stop when you add it's magic.
She still looks confused, but she also looks like she's decided not to ask further. She's like, I don't think this is a rabbit hole I want to go down.
No, come on, Alice.
And she says, and were you to be successful in your mission, we would be willing, should the case come up, grant you a favor of some kind, within reason. That's my offer, specifically.
Hard to turn down the
yeah,
chance
well-
at a royal favor.
We'll do what we can. We'll attempt to do this.
Yeah,
She
sure.
nods. She nods.
Either way, we're walking away with something, so I'm down for it.
Unless we die.
She nods graciously.
We don't die.
She says, "We appreciate your understanding. However," she looks you over, "I do hope you have something nicer to wear. This is a festival after all, and you'll need to blend in."
Bitch.
Gawain just snorts really loud.
It's not... It's easier to get proof of things that need to be hidden when you yourself do not stand out.
I'm going to
And
cast
I'm aware
minor.
of how social sabotage works.
I'm going to cast minor illusion to make myself blend in with the background and make myself appear invisible. How's that for blending in?
She looks at you and or where you were, and she says, "Alright, but can you do that for these two and hold it for several hours?"
I immediately show back. I was just like, no.
I can't
I
do
did.
that level 4, ma'am. Sorry.
She says, in a quieter voice, she's like, "Look, I prefer," and she waves her hands over you, "this general look. But if you're going to get past the guards at the gate, even if you're with me, they might take offense to the
No, go on, say
perceived
it.
lack of money. If you need help, if you need help, I could arrange a few things. I don't think anything I have will fit any of you, though."
Quick question.
Somehow, that sounded threatening.
quick question:
Yes.
Is Guinevere dressed properly at least? I point
She
at
has
the panther.
a beautiful ass ribbon. So you can't
She
tell me
looks at
she's
the
not
panther.
gorgeous.
And she's mildly surprised that it's there.
This guy hugs Guinevere, says, "Don't listen to them, you're perfect."
Perfect.
Hey.
Yeah, I know what I said.
Kaire looks at Guinevere and thinks, and has a considering look on her face for a moment. And she says, well, I've never seen anyone dress their panther less nicely. It is a nice ribbon.
How many people have you seen dress their panther?
None. That's what I was
I
getting
think
at.
that was the point.
We're kind of hard up for compliments here. I'll take it.
I mean, I don't know. We got, like, called out by the king, so... I feel like that's a pretty high compliment. Probably.
That's fair. But she doesn't think I'm pretty.
Well, she's
That is
wrong.
upsetting. Thank you. It means so much to me.
It's not that Kaire doesn't think you're pretty.
No, she just no, it's fine. It's fine.
It's that, you know, you are adventurers and you look the part.
Well, before this, he lived in the woods.
Yeah.
I don't think he's washed his clothes once since he's been here.
Yeah.
He has
Nasty.
like one extra pair of clothes that he might have worn, maybe, but I doubt it. And he
So let me
carries
check.
and he carries sandwiches in his pockets.
Yeah, Sky just has a set of common clothes. That's it.
Yeah, he just has an extra
Yeah.
pair of traveling clothes, nothing to wear anywhere.
See, this is what she meant.
Could have been said more gracefully.
That's probably the nicest way she could have put it.
It's fine, whatever. It's whatever.
She could have said, y'all look like the dirty ass murder hobos that you are.
But then she's recognizing that we kill stuff.
Look, we
good,
might
and I
be dirty
respect
ass
that.
hobo. We might be dirty ass murder hobos, but we're heroes.
Maybe.
Or at least moonlighting.
Moonlighting as heroes. Hey, roll credits.
Alright, everyone.
Good night,
Podcast
everyone.
over.
And she waves over the elven man, who has a handful of books
Sky
and,
waves at him.
books and sort of loose sheets of paper, and she plucks one of the pieces of paper, and the piece he had a piece of charcoal behind his ear, sort of like a writing charcoal, since I don't think they actually have pencils. She plucks it from behind his ear, and he seems unfazed by this. This seems to be something that she just does on a regular basis. And she writes down the name of a tailor, and it is the Mother of Pearl tailor in the Mercantile District. And she says,
I wanted to make a joke about there being like a famous Taylor, but I couldn't think of one that wasn't Taylor Swift.
Taylor Lautner?
Shit.
He's not really famous anymore, though, is he?
Yeah, no, not really.
Shark Boy is
Okay,
always
whatever.
famous.
Let's keep going.
Anyway, and she writes down the name of a tailor, the Mother of Pearl tailor, and she calls one of the knights forward, and they present her with a small stick of silvery blue wax, and she reaches into a pocket of her dress and pulls out her own stamp that has the royal crest on it, but slightly altered. The normal royal crest has a hippo. What is it called? A hippocampus? The horse with the fishtail.
Mm.
I think it's a hippocampus.
That sounds
Hers does not. Hers
No, what?
has no animal on it. And she, the elven man, whispers a tiny arcane spell under his breath, and the wax melts a little bit onto the paper, and she stamps it to leave the seal. And she says, "Go to the tailor. Tell them I sent you. That seal will prove it. They should be perfectly willing, and if not, they'll deal with me to outfit you with something that is more appropriate to get you past the guards." And make it so you can mingle amongst the nobles without drawing
Oh boy.
too much attention. You will be new faces. Maybe. I don't know if you've been over there yet. Probably not. But you should be able to pass yourself off easier with their help.
it's a place to start.
You will return at noon on the 11th day of this month, so in 3 days. Before then, I hope you will have some sort of plan in place. This doesn't feel like something you can wing. Yes, that is what I was looking for. Thank you, Strider.
The hippocampus is also a region of the brain,
Yes.
which is why I was very confused.
Yeah.
No, very
Anyway.
specifically the fish horse thing.
I thought you were talking about a kelpie for a second.
I think the part of the brain's called the hippocampus.
No, there is a part
I
called
mean,
the
it's
hippocampus
spelled
as
the
well.
exact same.
Okay, it's been a long time since I studied that stuff, so I don't remember.
A kelpie is similar, but it is not.
Is-
It doesn't.
Isn't it
It doesn't
goat
have the fish tail. It looks pretty much just like a horse, and it just drags people down into rivers and locks and
And it
stuff
drowns
and
them.
drowns them. Yep.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's just how kelpies are.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure hippocampus are specifically nicer.
Okay.
So yeah, we
Yep.
have to figure out a plan.
So who
We have to
wants to
figure
win
out
this?
how to even figure out a plan.
Well,
I have to figure out how to even figure out a plan.
first we can go shopping
Yay, more shopping.
for new digs.
New digs. Although it's probably not even really shopping. You have the feeling that with that seal, you're not going to be paying either as much or at all as what most things normally would
Well-
But we're
cost.
also probably not given much of a choice of what to get, I would assume.
Well, you probably won't be allowed to get anything totally outlandish, but there will probably be some choice in what you get.
He just wants it to be flattering to his features.
Well,
It
of
will be.
course.
That's the shopping part.
Folk will probably get something more suited to function.
Function rather than oh, beg pardon. Function rather than form, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't
that
remember
sounds
what
about
the
right. That's right.
phrase quite is.
Close enough.
Yeah, I
I
guess.
have a
guess-
very stupid idea of what to do.
Oh no.
I have my own stupid
Let's
ideas.
save it. Hell
Ooh.
yeah. Okay, we gotta like get together in between episodes.
Oh no.
Coordinated stupidity.
Now there's a title.
Coordinated stupidity. Too bad folksy Americana bullshit is the automatic winner. Um, so uh, with Kairi done with her explanation, she and her elven friend step back, and the king nods towards you, and he says, "I wish you luck on your endeavors. I hope that you are successful."
You and me both.
And he sort of nods to you and waves for Jaeseong and the Tiefling man to escort you back to the non-royal palace part of the city. And they take you back to the King's Hand district. And,
This guy is now playing Boulevard of Broken Dreams as they leave. Alright, everyone, Green Day's canon. Show's over.
You did it.
Oh my god. I wish now that I had named my days after colors instead of my months. But no, I named them after gods because, you know, Thursday is Thor's Day, and I'm like, oh yeah, let's go with that. Then we could have actually had a canon Green Day. Anyway. So they escort you back to the King's Hand district, and Sejong says, on the day of the festival, you will return here, and we will escort you back to the palace before the festival begins, so that you can confer your plans with Her Highness.
Oh boy.
It'll be fine.
It'll be fine.
It'll be fine.
You have a lot more faith than I do.
Come on,
It'll
you've
be
got a
fun, but it'll
stealthy.
be hilarious at least.
True.
You've got a stealthy ninja boy with you. You'll be fine.
I've been.
I mean, yeah,
way too much
he
to
will
get
be
worked up about
fine.
this.
And so you make your way back towards the mercantile district, the floating market. And it's not hard to find the Mother of Pearl Tailor, specifically because the letters of their sign are inlaid with Mother of Pearl above the door.
Oh my god.
And you walk in, and you see a middle-aged gnomish woman with her bright red hair pulled back into a braided bun. She's got these warm brown eyes, and you can see around the main shop there's a couple of different mannequins that have silk dresses and satin waistcoats and a couple of warm-looking, finely knit sweaters. And then along the back wall there is a collection of bolts of cloth of different makes and colors. And they all look like the bolts themselves cost more than what you have on you. And she comes up to you and she says, "Then what can I do for you, dearies?"
We need some fancy duds.
Well, you've certainly come to the right place. What sort of fancy duds? Are these for a dinner? Or a festival? Or...
Yeah, they're for the festival
Oh,
coming up. Yeah.
I see, yes. Well, we have certainly many sorts of wonderful fabrics and clothing items that you can try on. You can either pick one of the outfits we have currently fashioned and have it tailored specifically to fit you, or I do custom orders. It might take a little bit, and the festival is coming up soon, but we can do our best. Do you have anything specifically you're looking for?
This guy's looking at the sweaters. That's good enough, right? Just close?
For just the sweater? Or
Yes.
Only a sweater. That's all she's gonna wear is a sweater. She's not fucking around.
I mean, yeah, no, like a full outfit, but
I'm trying to find visual inspiration because I have no idea what would even a dragonborn wear to look fancy.
I don't know. I assume the same sort of thing anyone else would wear to look fancy.
they're Sunday best.
Their
Tails
Sunday
just
best.
make things weird sometimes.
Do dragonborns have tails? I'm never sure.
They do now because the book are
Eyes.
We've mentioned it, so yes.
Okay,
The book likes to
can't
say
remember.
they don't, but I think that's stupid.
fair enough.
If you want inspiration, a Dragonborn character I have in another game, has like his fancy outfit is like, how did I describe it?
Look at this fancy ass though.
Head coattails, I know
Look
that
at
much.
this. Yeah.
Ooh.
I like it.
Yeah, something
I
like
mean-
that actually.
Yeah, I mean, if you want, we could say that they do the sort of double-breasted cloak or the coat and the
I like it.
Okay.
See, I don't know the terms for fancy
This guy
clothes
goes for a look
at
that just
all.
screams funeral home director.
So, collared shirt, vest, sweater
Yes.
vest, sport coat, trousers.
Yep,
Okay.
that's Sky.
All in dark colors, because of course.
Oh yeah, of course. Of
Okay.
course.
And
What's the fanciest thing folks can get sleeveless?
Vest.
yeah, you could probably get like a sort of like a breast coat, which is just basically the vest part of a tuxedo. You could probably get it with tails. That'd be cool.
Alright, now for the function part. I need this to like be reversible into a ninja suit.
Into a what?
Into a ninja suit.
Into a ninja suit.
I don't know if that's manageable in 3 days.
I love us.
If you give her the challenge, she will certainly try her best. I can't promise it'd be perfect. I'd probably have to roll for it. But
Roll, 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 roll.
Please, God, roll.
that was a 2.
Oh.
With advantage, because I said so. And I'm the DM now.
That was a 15. Okay. So we'll say, you give this request to her, and you say, I'd like it to be able to. You don't quite say ninja suit because that might throw her off, but something
Yeah, she'll
like,
make it orange.
God damn it, Kim. This is a festival of the sun god, though, so maybe the normal version is
Oh my
an
god.
orangey
Swear to
color.
God, if you cause me to have an orange suit, I'm going to.
No. I'll be nice.
Sky's outfit could be orange.
Her sweater vest could be orange.
I know it's not the same, but, you know.
Gawain's gonna go with
I'll meet you
dark
halfway.
colors because we want to do a stealth mission, y'all. I don't know what
Yes,
you guys
but
are
not
doing.
all of us have to infiltrate the mansion.
Fair.
We call the ones that don't infiltrate the ones that don't get a share of the loot.
There you go.
So what the idea that she basically comes up with is that she has a way of she will make the outside color something a little nicer, not orange. We'll go with a foresty green, which is still kind of dark. So it makes the black on the other side look less suspicious. And it is reversible, and if you can tuck the tails of the coat up into the back, and there's a bit of a strap that they tuck into, so that it doesn't drag behind you.
Perfect.
Cool. So she sort of scribbles all of this down, and she takes out this very long, thin measuring tape, and she has each of you stand on this little stool next to this inside a rolling ladder rig, sort of like you see in libraries with the really tall shelves. And she climbs the ladder and rolls it around you as she gets each of your measurements in turn. And she scribbles each of these down, and she gets your names. And in the end, she says, and how would you like to be paying for this? Would you like to start a tab? Or do you have the cash on hand? I don't know what voice this character has. Jesus.
Wasn't...
Show the thing.
Okay, I have managed to already forget.
Show the thing with the seal.
Did Kyrie actually give us something or tell us
Yeah.
what to do here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, she gave you a slip of paper with the name of the tailor on it, and she has her seal on it.
Okay.
And
Okay. Then yeah, Sky shows her the paper. Like, is this good?
and she the gnome leans forward and eyes the seal, and she sort of takes the paper from your hand and stares at it even closer. And she looks honestly impressed, and she says, well then. I think I might have cut off there for a second. She says, well then, it seems you are well taken care of in the city. Come back in 2 days. It should be ready by then.
Okay. Thank you.
Of course. And she hops down, and she starts looking through the bolts of cloth. She's just sort of muttering to herself in the throes of her creative process.
Alright, now let's go right back to Hinata and Yuka because part of my plan involves an item.
Oh,
Okay.
okay. All right, you head back to the Riverstone Mercantile, and Hinata's at the desk again. He's looking much brighter-eyed and bushy-tailed than
Have we got some shit to tell you?
We are
Then he had
telling them nothing. Well, we are going to tell them, or ask them rather. Well, we're kind of planning to do on heavy lifting at some point, so we need a bag that can hold more than it should.
A bag of holding, if you will.
Hinata's eyes go bright. He's like, well then. One sec. No, okay, I'm still recording. I saw just a blank line where it wasn't catching anything, and I was super scared for a moment, but no, it's okay.
No.
It's okay. It still got me. I must have just not been talking at that point. Okay.
It's got you.
His eyes immediately light up in recognition. He's like, "Oh, I know exactly what you're looking for," and he rushes up the stairs and
This guy's
goes.
strumming their ukulele.
Yuka's not around, but her little Fae friend is, and they're sort of curious about your instrument and the sound it's making. It sort of floats closer and watches the strings vibrate as your fingers move across them. And a few moments later, Hinata comes back with a large backpack-looking thing, and he puts it down on the table, and it's made of this fine leather, and the majority of the backpack is a dark brown color, but the sort of rims of the main pouch and the two smaller side pouches are of a lighter leather. And he says, "This'll run ya about 1,000 gold."
1,000?
I guess so. One sec.
Maybe,
I don't
No,
know.
no, 1,000's good.
Maybe. I don't know.
Where the crap is my DM guide?
You should take her on that. Last time she did
Yeah.
that was a
Yeah,
bargain.
well, yeah,
Ah,
I'll take the 1,000.
one sec.
Nope, too late.
Too late, it's already done. It's a done deal.
We made a
I don't
deal.
kn- Where the
While he
crap
ran
is my
back to
DM
check
guide?
the price, we grab it and run and leave the money on the counter.
No, one sec. Now I'm concerned. I don't know where my DM's guide is.
Oh no.
Oh, fun.
We're
One
lost
sec.
now.
I'm
Load the
gonna.
PDF.
We're all going to die now.
I don't have a PDF.
You don't have a
One sec.
Put on my favorite.
Me too.
Do. Okay.
Yeah, I'll leave.
You're not leaving.
I found.
Oh, you want more ancient memes? Alright.
Okay. Found a decent answer for me. Okay, no. 2,500 gold.
Damn it.
I need to find my book. I'm concerned now. I don't know where it is.
Tell you what.
Oh,
I will-
come on. That's way too much.
Tell you what. I will. 'Cause I do not have that money. But. How about I make a down payment and I'll pay you. Because you see me every day.
And
What's
Hinata looks at Hinata nods and he's like, yeah, we do.
So. I pay you part of it now. And pay more over time. How about it?
He gives you a considering look, and he puts his finger up, and he takes the bag off the counter, and he walks back down the stairs, and you hear him vaguely discussing things with Yuka, who's hard at work, making more stuff for you to not buy, or to buy later, depending.
This guy is now strumming Never Gonna Give You Up.
Rickroll the entire audience. Good job.
Hell yeah.
And Hinata comes back and he says, we can do this. We can do a 500 gold down payment, and you can pay it over time.
Deal.
But I need... Yuka wants written consent that you will do this, so that if you don't do it, you can't say that that wasn't the deal.
Yeah, sure.
Alright. And he goes back downstairs with the bag, and he comes back up with a piece of paper that looks like it was written up by Yuka. That's just the basic sort of contract where it says, with initial down payment of 500 gold, and it has a blank where you would put your name, do hereby promise to pay the remaining 2,000 gold in incremental payments to the proprietors of the Riverstone Mercantile, and it has Hinata's name written in a sort of messy chicken scratch scrawl, and then Yuka's name is written in a small, neat font, and he sort of slides it over to you with the inked quill.
Sign it in the dwarf letters.
Okay. And so he takes the contract from you, and he puts it under the desk somewhere, under the counter. And he puts the bag back on the counter, and he waits for you to hand over the money.
Yeah. Start piling the cash on. 500.
Amazing.
It's a lot to count out.
500.
500 is a bit to count out. So.
That's fair.
1, 2, 3.
It's a bit faster at this for going one at a time than you would think. It's that dwarven
Alright.
upbringing.
That's fair.
Alright, after you count out your 500 gold and hand it over, you are now the partial owner of a bag of holding.
Pseudo bag holding owner.
He owns
He's
about
the
a fifth of it.
1/5 owner.
You
Yeah,
are
1/5 owner.
you are leasing to own the bag of holding.
Yeah, basically.
Amazing. This is just like real life.
Oh god, yeah. And what time is it? 10:30?
So about that bank account.
Oh god.
I mean, we could go get this deal notarized bank. It's not really official until it is.
I wish you were here in front of me, so you could see my tired face. I know this wasn't the most...
We love you.
I know this wasn't the most exciting of sessions, but I think we might end this here, and we'll kick off the fun bit next time, after I've actually designed a manor for this hillbender dude to live in. So you can scope it out.
So then we
I
can
had
plan
fun.
about it.
What? Yes, I can make a plan, so you can make a plan. That's how this works. Although, we did learn some fun stuff about Kairi today, and y'all met a very nice elven lady.
Why do
I need to
feel-
find my
why do I feel
DM
like-
guide.
Why do I feel like we knew this about Kyrie already?
Because it's on the Google Doc.
It is on the Google Doc.
Yeah.
Like, this wasn't a big reveal, but it was not brought up beforehand, and I think y'all just kind of forgot about it.
I had that
No,
nani. I had that
I
nani
knew.
planned for hours.
What?
At the
Say
reveal-
that again, Jay?
When it was the reveal, I had that nani planned for hours.
Nice.
I was so excited.
Good.
See, I was confused because
I'm
I was
just
just like,
really-
that's a reveal?
That's a what?
I was
Starter?
confused because like, that's a reveal?
Well, if I
For
put
people
too
who
much
are listening.
for people who are
yeah.
listening, yes, let's go with that. And also because I just kind of assumed that y'all weren't really going on the dock as much as I was, and might have forgotten.
I look at it. I was looking at
I
it
mean,
earlier before
I
we
probably
started.
would have forgotten if it wasn't for what you decided to tell me about Kairei's theme.
What did I... Oh, right, yeah. For the
Yeah.
theme.
So
Yeah. Whatever.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's not a big deal or anything.
No.
yeah,
Okay.
considering that part one of my plan involved a bag of holding, you can kind of see where I'm going with that, aren't you?
You just stuff everything in his house in the bag of holding?
Pretty much.
Oh, God. Something of this must be important. Dumps out.
Important. I'm looking for valuables.
Question.
You want a heist?
Yes.
You got a heist.
Are we still
Heist.
Are we still recording or are we stopped already?
We'll stop here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
All praise Kim, the editor supreme.